Okay, sixth graders, we're going to start working through some end of the year review worksheets for math. The first one we're going to go through together today is the Spiral Rev Week 3. We'll be doing these. They're going to cover a lot of different concepts. A lot of concepts that you have to know in order to do well in algebra. Okay? So the first one is writing a number in expanded form. Expanded form is the form that we use to show the value of each digit. Okay? So, for example, number 1, the number 34 and 907 thousandths. Well, I think you all can write 34 in expanded form, right? The value of the 3 is 30.
Plus 4.
Plus 4. What would be the next one though? Plus 9/10. Yep. So 0.9. And then how would you write 0 in expanded form? You don't write it. You skip that one. And then write the value of 7,000. Right? Let's go to the next section, some problem solving. Whenever you're doing problem solving, it's important to write down information from the problem. A piece of metal weighing 2 46/100 ounces was used to make 12 earrings of equal weight. Well, if we're making something of equal size, or we're cutting it into equal size pieces, what operation are we using? Dividing it, right. 2 46/100 ounces and cutting it into 12 pieces. Right? That's always helpful when figuring out problems. Okay? The estimated area, the next section. Estimate the area of the shaded figure. Each square on the grid is 1 centimeter squared. So, if you're estimating, you're going to write this as area. How do you write something in using area, a label for area? What do we use to label area? Is it regular units? Or is it square units? Or cubic units? It's square units, right? It says that they're square centimeters. And so just by counting, you can estimate about how many, right? But make sure that you count the halves. Because 2 halves is 1, isn't it? Yep. Yep. In 6 and 7, that one you're finding the area. And you have 2 different figures. You have this one first. What is this shape called? It's supposed to be a parallel line. No, what is this called? That's not a rhombus, it's 2 parallel sides. Parallelogram. On a parallelogram, this line represents the height of the figure. And this line represents the base of the figure. The height and the base. To find the area, you multiply these two dimensions, the base times the height. For what other figure do you use base times height to find the area? Well, what other kind of figure would you use to find the area, or what other kind of figure would you use base times height? A rectangle, yep. Anytime you have a rectangle, you use base times height. Notice how similar these figures are? In fact, a parallelogram is just a rectangle that's kind of slanted. Okay? Now, the other figure that you're given is a triangle. And then they also give you this dotted line. What does this line represent?
Height.
The height. So that's a 90-degree angle. Shows the height of the triangle. What's the formula for the triangle area? Do you remember? It's similar to this, but a triangle is only half of a rectangle. If you were to draw around this, what would you have? What figure is this?
A square. Rectangle.
That's a rectangle, isn't it? This is the
Base.
base of the rectangle, and this line would be the height of the rectangle, right? Now, would we use that same formula then to find the rectangle area? No, we'd use base times height and then divide it by 2, right. This is base times height divided by 2. Or, think of it as 1/2 times the base times the height. Half of the base times the height. Okay? The reason is because you can cut any rectangle into 2 equal triangles. Okay? Yeah.
So is the formula for the parallelogram just base times height?
Just base times height because it's similar to the rectangle. Yep. Now, the next section is mean, median, and mode. Do you remember what those are? What is the mean? What? Correct. It's the sum of all of the numbers divided by, right, the amount of numbers, the number of numbers. The median, yep. So you have to put them in order and find the middle, either the middle number or the, what if there's 2 numbers in the middle? Because there's an even number. Then it's the middle of those, or you could find the mean of the 2 middle numbers. Oops, the mean of the 2 middle numbers. Okay. The last section, 11 through, well, let's start with 11 and 12. Those give you an unknown angle in a triangle. And they're asking you to remember a triangle principle. How many degrees? Think of it this way. When we were talking about rectangles, we said you can cut any rectangle into 2 equal triangles, right? How many degrees would be in the rectangle? A rectangle has what? How many 90-degree angles?
4. So it's
Right.
360.
90 by 4, so that's 360.
So that
Right?
would be divided by half,
Then, if you cut that in half, you have
then 180.
180. The total is 180 degrees because it's half of a rectangle.
Oh.
So if you have two of the measures, in the first one you have 50 and 85, can you find the third one? Can you find the third angle if you know the total is 180?
Yeah.
Sure.
Wait. Oh,
Yep. Then how about in a quadrilateral? What would a quadrilateral? This is a quadrilateral. So what would the total be in a quadrilateral?
oh.
360. Yep. So if you have the measures of 3 of them, you can find the missing angle.
And then it's
Okay.
360.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. All right. That's our first spiral review, week 3.